Lyosha woke up to strange noises in the next room. It's like someone was scratching the wall. Maybe Muska is tearing the wallpaper again? Probably so, otherwise what else could it be? Lyosha thought and calmed down a little. Muska is generally a strange cat. She doesn't recognize food and treats, but she eats small animals so much that it cracks behind her ears. A scratching post was recently brought to her from the city. It seems like it even suited her, but she still pulls everything that gets under her paw. They made a bed for her and her grandfather with their own hands, but she gets a job with her grandmother anyway. Well, in principle, it's understandable. The village cat is ordinary. It's not accustomed to the delights of home life. What else can you expect from it? Lyosha fell asleep soundly again, because everyone knows that Grandma's delicious pancakes, tea with honey and a cozy soft bed are the best sleeping pills. The next day in the village passed quite normally. Leshka fed the chickens and geese in the morning, played with the local children and went fishing, as he had long dreamed of, because according to his grandfather's stories, there are such huge catfish here, which alone can feed an entire family for several days. The road to the river was quite unpleasant, but at the same time it was the most common damp earth, large puddles in the ruts from the wheels, from which fat green frogs jumped out every now and then, running out from under their feet with deafening croaking. The only thing that was strange was the fog. Not everywhere, but hanging by the side of the road in small pieces, as if a piece of cloud had come off and was now hovering over the road. And the smell. There was a sickly, disgusting smell next to the fog. Leshka had already felt it once before, when Volodya, a bully and a two-man, threw a dead mouse into his briefcase for fun. It was the smell of rot, the smell of death and rotten meat. Well, you never know. What if some cat picked up a sparrow and didn't finish it? But this pattern, the fog and the stink, it was just terrifying. Who knows what's in that little patch of fog? Leshka, despite the fact that his imagination was drawing pictures that made the hairs stand on end, allowed some stupid, misunderstood interest to take over. Having found a new patch of fog, he could no longer pass by. The patch was just small, 1 meter by 1 meter. Leshka immediately began to carefully disperse the fog, and when an object began to be visible through it, he dragged it closer to himself with a fishing rod. Forgetting about everything, spitting on all the catfish, not remembering about the warm, clean river water, he ran. He ran so fast that it was as if a knife had been stuck in his left side, so fast that his head was spinning and his heart was pounding, as if he were about to shatter his ribs and fall out. Cat. His cat was there. Muska was lying there with her eyes gouged out, and in her slit belly was visible a still living mouse, which had been skinned alive. He just couldn't go on. His thoughts were confused and foggy. There was not a piece of land ahead, but a whole cloud, right by the curb. Half dead from running, he burst into the house, scaring his old grandmother. "What happened to you, grandson? It's like you've seen a dead man," and Grandma was right, as if she knew what he'd found there. Grandma didn't even change her face after his story. It was his grandmother who was worried about anything, and without him, that was what was scariest of all. Grandma, after a little thought, sent him to bed. Night. It's dark outside, and not even the loudest dog is making a sound. But if the poor kitty has been lying there, and obviously for several days, who scratched his wall yesterday? The thought made me feel creepy. It was so creepy that even the tiniest thought of sleep was instantly cut off. Scratch, scratch, something is scratching the wall at the level of the bed. The sound went up the wall, becoming somewhere on the level of an old Soviet bookshelf hanging in the room behind the wall. Maybe Grandpa decided to read before going to bed, and is trying to stand up, leaning on the wall? No, it's not the sound of fingers, it's the sound of something sharp, claws or bones. But Grandfather is actually quite thin, and maybe he just grazed the wall with his nails. Scrab, somewhere at the height of the closet. It's already scary. Leshka stood up. My legs were shaking with fear, but what if Grandpa felt sick? We need to help the old man, otherwise he might drop something else or fall himself. The hallway is too quiet, not even a single annoying fat green summer fly is buzzing. There's a notebook on the bedside table. The notebook is old and faded, but it has not lost its appearance. There must be something unusual about it if it's being kept so carefully, and Leshka takes it. A terrible rustling and crunching sound comes from Grandfather's room. The crunch of bones. Maybe his joints hurt. Who doesn't? The door is unlocked, and a faint candlelight is shining through. When it is opened, it creaks with unoiled hinges, and movement begins in the room. A dead cat was just a small thing. Leshka was shackled by fear at the sight of his grandfather. He was sitting on top of the closet, sitting in an unnatural, flattened position between the closet and the ceiling, even though there were about 20 centimeters there. The arms are broken and bent in many places of fractures, the neck is broken, the head is twisted so that the person would have died long ago. The eyes are not visible, there are only 2 dark holes in their place, and in the teeth. There's still a live cat in his mouth, with his belly chewed open and his giblets hanging down. Grandpa quickly realized that a 12-year-old boy would be more delicious than a small, bony animal. The carcass of the poor animal plopped to the floor, scattering blood and entrails. Granddaughter, if you are reading this, then know that you will not be saved. Wherever in this house you hide, Grandfather will find you. I know that you will find this notebook only before you die, but I hope that you will not find it at all. He died a year ago, and was drunkenly killed by an old friend, Grandfather Sasha, the same one who went missing a month later. I couldn't live without him, and the price for his return was my soul and 1 or 2 animals a night. I love you very much, and I'm sorry that you read this. Your grandmother. The door won't last long. There is no way out.